I have owned this 1979 Honda Goldwing for a few weeks now and have had a chance to take it out, mostly commuting back and forth. But I've taken it out on the highway a little bit here and there, and really, have had an opportunity to get to know the bike a little bit, at least like I said, over the last few weeks. And some of my initial impressions, I wanted to share some of my initial impressions beyond just sort of that test ride that I did when I first got the motorcycle and that first time I took it out on the highway. But I mean, after living with the motorcycle for the past few weeks and riding it, not every single day, but pretty much, throughout the week here, some of my initial impressions are this. I mean, some of the really, really positive things about the bike, which is super impressive, is how well the bike handles. That's probably the most noticeable thing. Is I'm just super impressed at how well this motorcycle handles. I mean, going around corners is just a joy with this motorcycle, man. I'm telling you, these roundabouts, all this sort of stuff. It's just so much fun to go around. It's just, there's just a maneuverability that you have here that I just don't have with the 2002 Honda Shadow Sabre, and I'm sure it has to do with the center of gravity sort of being down low and pulled towards the middle of the bike. I mean, it just handles super, super well. Slow speeds, at slow speeds, it just handles really, really well, man. Another positive is just overall, just the condition of the bike. It's almost a 40-year-old bike, man, and it really is in great condition. I took it over to my local Honda dealership. I know the guys over there, and they took it out for a ride. They looked it over, and at least looking things over with the flashlight and things like that, man, they said that I got a really good bike. They said the bike looks like it is in really good condition. I mean, there's not to say that things aren't going to go out on it because, it is an older bike, but for being 37 years old, it's surprisingly in good condition, and 41,000 miles. It's low mileage. I mean, I guess I don't consider that low mileage because I've never had a motorcycle that had that many miles. But according to them, they're like, yeah, for a Goldwing, I mean, it's really low mileage, And so the condition of the bike, super, super impressed, man. Seating position, all of that, it just feels really, really good. It's a heavy bike, that's one thing. It certainly is a heavy bike. It's heavier than the Shadow, but when you're riding around, it doesn't feel like that much of a heavy bike. It really doesn't. So, I mean, some of the negatives are the front shocks. Whenever I'm braking, not whenever I'm braking, but certainly during hard braking, the front end tends to dip. It really tends to dip. And I don't know if there's any way that I can adjust those front shocks here. I'm going to have to get in there and see and talk to like my Honda guys and all this sort of stuff. They've been really, really cool. But I don't know if there's anything I can do to kind of adjust those a little bit and tighten those up a bit. Probably the number one negative that I have with this motorcycle, at least with this setup, is this fairing. Oh my God, man. And maybe it's just because I purchased this motorcycle in the summertime, but oh my God, I am so hot on this motorcycle. I mean, the fairing works so well, all the wind just flies right across me, man, and I'm left in this bubble of heat. I don't get cooled off at all, man. It is just, it's painful. It really is painful. I've had to ride with a different helmet. Like I have a 3/4 face helmet, like an open face helmet. I've had to ride with that just to stay cool. I'm riding with my jacket open. I mean, it's just, oh man. I mean, and that's unsafe. It really is unsafe to get too hot on your motorcycle when you're riding around because you get dehydrated, you start to lose concentration, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, actually, I don't like to ride the motorcycle in really, really hot weather. Today is decent. Today was like 90 degrees, outside, which is what, maybe about 30, 2 degrees Celsius. And so today was decent. Wasn't that bad today. But, man, the other day we got up close to like 100 degrees, and I thought I was going to die. Seriously. I was like, oh, my God. I'm standing up on the motorcycle to try to get some air. It was out of control, man. I'm telling you. So that's probably the number one negative that I have with the bike, and that's sort of an aftermarket accessory that eventually I'm going to take off. I'm working on all the other pieces first. I've changed the oil, air filter. I've got spark plugs coming in, So I'm doing all the other sort of maintenance here first, and then I'm going to start on kind of taking some things apart on the motorcycle. But overall, man, gosh, I am so incredibly pleased with the motorcycle. It runs very, very smooth. I mean, it takes some time to warm up, it takes a little bit of time to warm up, but once you warm it up, oh man, then it's very responsive. Throttle response is great. Got a plenty of power. It's just it's fun. It's a fun motorcycle to ride on, man. So I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't. Oh, here's the negative. I can feel it right now. The heat coming off of this engine is definitely noticeable. I mean, and maybe it's because it's sitting like right there. But damn, yeah, I can definitely feel the heat coming off of that machine, off of that motor, boy. So that's something that I wish it wasn't quite as hot, but it's okay, though, because I'm hot, right? SoopaBee's hot, and so it's making me even hotter. I'm just playing, man. Anyway, with that, my friends, my people, continue to ride with confidence, head up 100%. Yeah, this is SoopaBee.